if you have an opinion that Elon Musk might not like, supposedly the champion of freedom of speech. But if you say something that he doesn't like and you have a large platform like a Laura Loomer, he will demonetize you or do everything he can to do so. He will suspend your account and he will take your blue check mark away, because in the end, they always complain about liberal snowflakes. Let me tell you something. The biggest snowflakes in the world are those on the far right, like Donald Trump and Elon Musk.
I agree. I totally agree. It's just kind of like, I think what it's going to have to happen, because I don't even know if the other side will ever see the truth. I mean, like, he's 34 felon. Come on. I mean, how good is he going to do? And do you think those billionaires, they don't give a rat's ass about us?
They forget.
No way.
And they forget when they say, look at the economy, like the idiots like Tim Pool, who is an utter buffoon. By the way, I want to do a show with Tim Pool, and we'll both take our hats off, and we'll see who has the better bald head. I'm willing to do that with Tim Pool. But anyway, Tim Pools of the world and those out there, they talk about how the economy was great under Trump, and they seem to forget we were all locked up in our rooms. Nobody was working, and the country was on fire in a bad way, and we were shut down under Donald Trump. And when he left office, we were losing 3,000 to 5,000 people a day from COVID. Trump took over a wonderful economy that Obama left him, and he ruined it. And if people want to make an excuse and say, well, it was COVID, how about what happened under George W. Bush? The ill-advised war in Iraq is nobody's fault but George W. Bush and Dick Cheney. What happened there? Why is it that Democrats need to always pick up the pieces and leave the economy like Bill Clinton did in a surplus, and then Donald Trump gets us twice as in debt as Joe Biden did? Let me repeat that. Donald Trump in 4 years got us twice as in debt. Nothing to do with COVID. I'm talking pre-COVID. Twice as in debt as Joe Biden did. But they want to talk about fiscal responsibility when Nikki Haley, sometimes I agree with her, she said it best, it's the Republicans that seem to put us in debt year after year, not the Democrats, nowhere near as much as the Democrats. But, they want to talk about fiscal responsibility, and they want to talk about drag queens, and they want to talk about women, trans women in women's bathrooms. They want to talk about issues that the average everyday American does not care about. But if you notice, they don't talk about health care. They refuse to concepts of a plan. They don't want to talk about gun violence. We could have Sandy Hook was a perfect example. You got 20 plus kids that were massacred, and Obama tried to do everything he could to put more laws on the books, and Republicans vote against it. If you're going to shoot a bunch of 8 and 9-year-olds and they all die, and Republicans refuse to do anything about it and continue to brag about their A+ rating from the NRA, then there is no hope when MAGA Republicans are put in office. No hope.
You're right. One of the things that I was looking at is like, the Democrats are not perfect, and you know that. Okay? Mm-hmm. They did some crazy moves. And I think what they could have done is just they could have handled the freaking border without the Republicans. I wish they had just clamped it down.
Yeah, but if not for Donald,
that's it.
But if not for Donald Trump,
we would have won. We would have won.
I agree with you, my dear, but the problem is it wasn't even necessarily Republicans and Democrats. It was Donald Trump and maybe some Republicans like Mike Johnson without a spine. But I agree with you, your sentiment. I agree with what you're saying. But the reason why that border bill didn't pass, make no mistake about it, was the orange orangutan who's going to be back in office. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. I believe we have Julie who's next up on PTL. By the way, where are all my MAGAs out there? It's interesting because the MAGAs out there, all the infighting, it's just like the January 6th. I was on a conservative radio station for the January 6th, the day after, and it's interesting. The MAGAs didn't want to call in. They would flood the phone calls when I was doing a show at another station. But on January 6th, they didn't want to call in. Where are all the MAGA callers today? I'm wondering what happened to your hero, Vivek Ramaswamy? What happened to Elon Musk? What happened? Where are you? Why is your Cheeto Jesus leader silent? Why is he not tweeting on Truth Social? Where are you today, MAGA morons?